glanced over her shoulder. Sure enough, there was a boy trailing them. She vaguely recognized him from mining class. He was a year or two younger, maybe 16, but in some of the higher-level courses. The afternoon sun glinted off his ridiculous spectacles as he bowed his head and pulled his ratty shawl high up against his cheeks. He was a slight thing. He had to lean forward under the weight of his backpack, which appeared to be loaded down with lead, but was probably just full of books. Seeming to sense that Anya was looking back at him, Jonah lifted his gaze, and Anya caught the barest of smiles before she snapped her head around, embarrassed that he had caught her looking. "What a zoid," she said, and Mel laughed. Ahead of them, some of the older boys were smoking home-rolleds. Anya didn't smoke, but she loved the smell of it. She had a crush on one of the boys, Kayak Wu, captain of the school's varsity wicket team, and when she passed him in the hall, she'd get a whiff of the tobacco. She liked how the smell of him lingered. She felt a light sweat going beneath her shawl from the afternoon heat and the pace, from trying to keep up with the boys and their long strides. When Kayak turned and saw Anya trailing behind, he laughed and blew smoke, and Anya looked quickly to her shoes. "You should just talk to him," Mel said. "Who?" Anya feigned, like her best friend knew her so little. "Okay, whatever. But if all you ever do is want after things, you'll never get them." The two friends walked in silence, Anya thinking on Mel's words, how all the things she wanted she kept to herself. What she wanted was out of Aggle, out of school, away from the mining pits. She wanted a life to the east, beyond the oceans, where kings and queens dressed in gold thread and rode chariots in the sky, where all the mined things were fabricated for an empire of magic and wonder. But these were the dreams best kept quiet, lest they drive her mad with yearning. The stream of students thinned and thinned as they wound their way through Aggle's tight streets. By the time Anya and Mel had left the twisting alleys on the edge of town, the rough stone pavers had given way to dirt and gravel. Dogs with rib-lined flanks paced behind rusty chain-link fences. Trash fluttered in the wind and wrapped itself around the web of wires running from home to home. In someone's yard, chickens strutted and pecked at what seemed like nothing in the dirt. The nice clothing shops in the central district melted into junk stores, and then repair shops, and then scrap yards, the world seeming to fall apart as Anya got closer and closer to her neighborhood on the northern edge of town. Near to the gorge now, she could hear the occasional blasts from the mines on the other side, some of the explosions so strong that dust lifted off the ground. Magnets and electric fields pulled all the useful things out of the blasts, leaving debris to float westward, carried off by the wind, away from the city proper and out to the wastelands. Years of schooling had given Anya more knowledge about the mining process than she had ever cared to possess, but these facts were mere background for her mind, just like the booms to the west were an unconsidered background to her life. Overhead, the ore carts that carried the processed materials floated like fat, ugly birds through the afternoon sky. The path home lay beneath the carts, north toward the rail depot and dumping stations and the company bunkhouses beyond. When Anya was younger, she and her friends used to ride the ore carts home from school. She wondered if kids still did that sort of thing. By the time she was 13, the thrill of the heights and the effortless motion no longer made up for the ruined clothes and the black smears that resisted washing. The carts back then were exciting and exotic. Now they were little more than shadows on the ground. Right on the edge of the gorge lay the slave pens, where the arrivals from the west were kept. Anya and her friends passed the largest of these pens every day, long buildings with low roofs, sluices and troughs where the river was diverted and ore was washed, the smell of strong chemicals hiding the odors of the foul work conditions. Several generations of mining students had worn a path in the dirt here. It bent in toward the pens, marking years of curiosity and sadism. There were few rocks along this stretch. They now lay in heaps between the double fences, where they'd been thrown. These days, Kayak and his friends carried stones from town in their pockets. They juggled them and laughed, shouting and tossing them like wicket balls. A mile they carried them, just for cruel amusement. Just to stop near the pens and hurl missiles at the animals who dared to peer out at Aggle in the distance. Some of the animals flinched back. Some ran away. Some seemed not